Welcome back everyone. This is a follow-up video after my first video discussing whether it was a legitimate procedure to cut a fork steerer in situ without having to remove everything off the bike first. I was told by many people that is actually pretty much the go-to method for most bike shops, most people around the world, so looks like I've been missing out. So this Cannondale, as you can see, needs a chop, so we're going to do this one in situ without removing any hoses, any cables, nothing. Chop it down, put it back together. Let's go. I asked the customer 6 times if he's sure, and he says yes, chop it off. You can't put it back on again, guys, so if you're committed and you want it chopping off, we'll chop it off for you. There is still one spacer in here, and he's happy with that, so we're chopping it off. By all accounts, it's going to be a pretty straightforward job now, so take this top cap off. I have already adjusted this because he'd done it so tight it had seized in there. Take them off. This is the steerer we're going to be cutting off. Once you know where you want it with your spacers, etc., all you need to do is put a score line on the fork itself. That's not your cut line, that's a score line. We're cutting sort of 3mm below that line, but you do need to mark that one. Then we need to get our expander out. Straightforward on this Cannondale, it's just a little 4mm nut down here. And try not to drop it down the fork when you're doing it. It's quite easily done. That's me how I know. Let's get there. Pretty feeble expander compared to some, to be fair, especially like Specialized where it goes halfway down the steerer tube. Once that's off, we need to obviously take the stem off. Like I say, previously I've always took them off, put them in the vise, in a fork clamp and cut them there. But by the sound of it, I'll be missing out and wasting hours and hours doing that. Maybe not hours, but a lot longer than normal. And by the sounds of it, this is the way that everybody does it. So we just take this off now. We might need to take this cover off to get access to these hoses, but by the looks of it, we should be able to just pull this straight off, like so. The spacer just clips off anyway. The more room you can get here, the better. Well, I've not got any gloves on, to be fair. Right, I'm just going to take this bearing off just so we don't contaminate it with any carbon dust or anything like that. On this Cannondale, it's actually a better design than most because the hoses go down this front section of the frame. They don't go through the top bearing. They don't go through the bottom bearing. However, to get the bottom bearing off the fork, you wouldn't be able to pull the steerer all the way through the head tube, which is pretty long. And these hoses would be restricting that. You wouldn't get enough, obviously, hose through there to get the steerer out of the head tube. However, I think if you pull this cover off, you probably would get enough hose there. This is a big frame. So maybe on a smaller frame, you might get enough just to pull this fork straight through and just change the bearings and it'll be a piece of cake. So that's a pretty good idea. I don't know why most manufacturers don't do this rather than going straight through the middle of the bearing. So kudos to Cannondale. I'm going to take this cover off, see if it's possible, just as a matter of interest. Not part of this video, but just a 2.5mm, take this cover off. It comes off there. And you can see there, you've almost certainly got enough brake hose there to pull this fork all the way out to change this bottom bearing. Oh, that's so close. By the time we've chopped it, you definitely would. But that's a much better idea. I don't know why they don't all do that. All right, so we'll put that back where it was anyway. Hopefully I can still see my mark. I'm just remarking that because I can't actually see it. Alright, so there's the mark. So the bottom of that line is the top of the stem, so we want to cut about 3mm below that one there. Just before we continue, I want to take a minute to thank this channel's ongoing sponsor, sportandleisure.com. Sport and Leisure are a UK-based cycling retailer with thousands of parts, tools, clothing and accessories ready to ship. Their listings are clear with proper descriptions and really good photos of the actual items you are buying, which I genuinely appreciate. Some of the other sites I've had to use, oh my god. And here's the best bit. If something's listed as in stock, it really is. Sitting on the shelf, ready to go. Better still, you can order before 3 PM and it ships the same day. UK shipping is free on all orders, but if you need it next day, it's only £2.50, an absolute bargain. If you're after new wheels, brakes, or even full group set or levers, their prices are pretty much unbeatable. Now, if you're not in a hurry to buy something right now, it's worth signing up to their mailing list because they have some huge Black Friday and Cyber Monday discounts on the way. In the lead up, I'll be sharing a few teasers here, but if you want to be the first to know when the offers drop, make sure you're signed up to their mailing list. That way you'll get early notice before the best deals sell out. And don't forget, in the meantime, you can still use code BCR10 at checkout on your first order for an extra 10% off the already great prices. So the link's in the description below. Thanks again to sportandleisure.com. This one I'm going to use the Abbey Tools clamp, which everybody recommended was the ideal tool to do this in situ, and indeed it's in their website. You can do it in situ with this tool. So let's get going. Basically all you need to do is clamp this on. Line your cut line between just below that mark and get cutting. There's the bottom of it, so that cut mark there will be pretty much there. I'm just going to make a very light scratch on here, basically make sure I'm in the right place. Yep, so that's going to be about 2-3mm below there, including the width of the carbon blade. That'll be about bang on. and we're just going to cut it off. This is a carbon blade fitted to this saw. You can use a normal hacksaw, but a bit better if you've got a carbon blade, to be fair. People use angle grinders. There's loads of comments on the previous videos about the way of doing it. Somebody even suggested using a pipe cutter. I'm not going to do that. And we're just going to cut it off. Basically, if you use water in the area, that's going to control the dust as well. If you're cutting carbon, always wear a mask. Right, we're off. Obviously, I've got cloth protecting the area as well for any debris or dust, but don't use your best cloth because they're going to get covered in dust. It's chopped. Undo your clamp. It's a pretty nice cut. No dust, nothing. I used to do a lot of work with carbon fibre, so I have tools for this. This is a permanent tool with tungsten carbide, basically permanently impregnated. This is going to last pretty much forever. Just tidy this edge up. It's a very flat cut, actually. Beautiful. Absolute piece of cake. Well done, Cannondale. Why don't you all do that? That's brilliant design. Well done, guys. Just going to clean these up now. Put some grease back in here, stop any seizing, and we'll put it back together. Then clip this back on. And bolt this back to the stem now. Obviously, this bike's on SRAM AXS, so there's no gear cables. It's all wireless. However, it's not working at the moment because the guy's lost a battery. Got a new one coming. It's fell off somewhere. Anybody had it fall off, or was it just a case you potentially didn't clip it in properly? And then this will just drop down here. 2. Yeah, and that's perfect height. Great. That's what you're looking for, around about 2-3 millimeters below the top of the stem. This Cannondale's a bit fiddly. I think the best way to do it really, screw this on half a thread, drop that down, and then there's a separate 4mm bolt down the middle of that to hold the expander. And that gives that a couple more threads just to tension it down when you're done. Torque that centre one up. Good. There we go. Well, all this is doing, remember, it's tensioning the bearings. When it came in, it was super, super tight because the other one had come loose. And the guy had just been over cranking it. You can see he's damaged his top bolt here. But all it's doing is putting pressure on this headset bearing. Like that. And that bearing is tight. You can rock your bars side to side. You'll feel if there's any play in that. That's done. Now we just need to torque these. Well, put the wheel in, then we'll torque these up to a line. Just going to align this to the wheel. Dead easy with these because you've got this mount on here, which makes it super easy. And these are 5 Newton meters. This part tool one's adjustable from, I think it's 4 to 6. Great tool. And that's it. Get that back. The hideous tower of indecision is gone. Chopped down. Let's just clean this down. So yeah, perfectly possible, perfectly safe with the correct tool. And I think going forwards, I'll be doing that, that's for sure. That didn't take very long. It took longer to film it than it did to actually cut it, you could see. But that's gone on very nicely. Excuse this horrendous bar wrapping job, that's not me. It's getting redone, don't worry. But that's just what I wanted to show you on this video, is just how to do that in situ. It's not the end of the world, you don't have to take the whole bike apart. So I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Actually, a perfectly legitimate method of doing it, probably the preferred method of doing it. I've been wrong all these years. That's the way I'm going to do it going forward. Depending on the bike, some of them might be slightly more challenging, but this one was super, super easy. Get the right tool, take your time, mask it off. There's no real risk at all. Piece of cake, that would have took probably 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes if I wasn't trying to film it, move the camera. So hands up, I'm a convert, I'll be doing this going forwards. So I hope you learned something there. Don't let the bike shops charge you £300 labour, it's a 5-minute job now. Thanks for watching.